All right, it's Thursday morning, final days of May 29th. Good morning, everybody. Soaking rains. If you've looked out your window this morning, you don't need me to tell you that. We do turn drier. I'll say that. We've got good weather, better weather, drier weather on the way, and summer-like next week. But not before. Some drier air is on the way. So big picture here. You can pick out a couple features. Number one is going to be the rain here across the southeast. Number two, you have this little short wave that's currently moving through the middle of the country. This rain, that'll be upon us tomorrow. That's a different frontal system that we will see moving through here Friday. That's going to bring about the drier air, the more comfortable air that we will be receiving over the weekend. So we got a stalled boundary here over the southern half of the state, just an ample amount of tropical air. I mean, this has been feeding in for the last several days, and this is leading to some really soaking rains, all well below any severe limits here in central Alabama. However, there's been a couple warnings down near Mobile, a tornado warning just north of Mobile there in, I believe, Mobile County. And that's where the storms are going to be focused here today. You see the lightning strikes, focused in the southern half of the state. Where you have that air, that energy freely coming off the Gulf, that's where you're going to have your stronger storms. Once you get to the north, we don't have those ingredients. There are some heavier bands of rain, don't get me wrong, and the soaking rains can be problematic. We've had record May rain totals for several locations in Alabama, including Fayette and Tuscaloosa there, Coker, Brookwood, Aniana. And this is just going to add to it. So a look at the sweeping view. Again, it's about 9 o'clock here, a little after, about 9:30, I should say. And the heaviest rain is currently approaching Lake Martin. So all of our water levels are up. It would be great if we could have some dry conditions to kind of help that. Temperatures today are going to be very uniform across the state. That's what happens when we have almost all-encompassing rain. 100% coverage from the shoals down to the Gulf Coast. We don't say that too often with a non-tropical event here. So highs today, tied to rainfall, but most areas are probably going to stay in the 70s once you get north of US 80, some 80s further to the south, but that's not the story of today. It will become the story. Temperatures will moving forward. Not tonight, though. 65 to about 70, 74 if you're down in the Wiregrass, and then our highs on Friday. Look at the wind direction. That's big. What do we always say about northerly winds? That is a continental breeze, an air mass that initiates over land versus water is going to have some drier air, and it certainly will be the case here. We'll probably get to about 80 degrees in a lot of spots in northern Alabama, a good deal warmer in southern Alabama, and we'll have to keep an eye on places like Andalusia, Troy, Enterprise, Headland, Geneva, Dothan for the potential of some stronger storms tomorrow, because the timing of the front is going to get there. It's going to put the storms there after we heat up. We'll talk about that in a second. Lows by Saturday. Take a look at this. We've got temperatures in the 50s, and I think we could have upper 50s all the way down to Covington, Coffee, Dale, maybe even Henry County by Saturday morning. So, all right, there's kind of the outlook. Let's talk about the overall setup heading into there. So this is the SPC outlook for Friday. Okay, you'll notice the slight risk area does include the Wiregrass, extending up into Georgia and the Carolinas. Here's the Alabama view. Slight risk, again, the southeastern corner of the Wiregrass. That would include Geneva, Houston, Henry, Dale, up into Barber, Pike, Bullock counties, Crenshaw County, and all the way up to Lee County, including Auburn. Marginal risk extends up to about Sylacauga, Demopolis. I don't see severe weather for us here in central Alabama. Okay, let's go to this. I love the upper level view. This gives kind of the overview, the synopsis of things. So this is later on today. Again, we're still in that zonal flow with these little short waves riding along the base of the jet stream. And by Friday afternoon, notice where this trough is, okay? It's not, the coldest air is centered to the north of us, but that's very common. This time of year, we just don't get, but there's the coolest air. You're going to have a cool front, though, that exists out ahead of this, and we're going to be just cool enough in the mid-levels for that to translate to the surface. And I think that is going to be what is the big difference maker as we roll into the weekend. So by Friday, you position that front over the Tennessee Valley, and as we roll into the weekend, we're looking at that cooler air settling in here, at least for a day or two. Drier air as well. So you can, again, see that cooler air off to the north and east. You've got that upper level, some cold air aloft over parts of Canada, Ontario, and glad that's not around here. We don't need any of that this time of year. Cold air aloft can sometimes breed strong thunderstorms, but we will have anything but that Into Sunday, the troughing begins to lift, and we begin the stages of a bit of a ridge here. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Here's our ridge. There's the ridge axis, and the warmest temperatures are going to be here in the outlined area. So that's kind of the synoptic view, the wide view. Let's take it more localized here and go to our future view. So this is the HRRR. We're starting this at 10 o'clock this morning, so pretty close to now. And this is initializing pretty well. Again, showing the rain and thunderstorms. This is we'll stop this about 3 o'clock. So where's the rain now? It's kind of come to an end here. We're looking at showers now, 4:31, and points east by this afternoon. So maybe some sunshine later in the day today. A bit of a break in the rainfall. Let's go to early Friday. So there's our front. Stop this at about 7 o'clock. So there's our surface front, okay? This is accompanied by dry air. It'll be back here over Arkansas, the Ozarks, and then warmer tropical air to the south. Well, where those two air masses collide, that cooler air is wedging up underneath the warm tropical air. There's your lift. So we're going to get thunderstorms along that boundary. They will be all sub-severe in north and central Alabama. If we do have anything severe, I'm going to take off this surface analysis here so we can better see this modeling in southeast Alabama. But this is at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you know, what you can notice here, and this is just a look at reflectivity, but our better potential, I think, for strong thunderstorms will exist right here. Okay, so there's going to probably be a pretty good squall line along here, and that's going to move off in a general like east to southeasterly direction. What you'll have back here is some isolated stronger storms possible. Again, it's not an ideal setup. Some gusty winds are possible, maybe some hail. Again, this is going to be moving into an air mass that's very warm and very, very tropical, so there might be just enough there to get a couple strong storms. So just heads up tomorrow afternoon in parts of the Wiregrass. And then, well, it's smooth sailing, something we love to hear this time of year. Here is why. This is a product us meteorologists, us weather nerds like to use. It's called precipitable water. Call it PWATS for short, okay? This is exactly what you're feeling when you go outside. That wearing the air feel, that is 100% due to the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. And when you see a precipitable water drop, that means drier air aloft, drier air at the surface, and in general, it means a more comfortable feel. So this is 3 o'clock on Friday. You notice the driest air is over the Tennessee Valley. Ooh, look at that. Oh, this is going to be so nice. So this is a measure. You look at the scale here of precipitable water. So when you talk about 2 inches, that sounds like a hard number to comprehend. What the heck does that mean? A pretty high, like a 90th percentile level of precipitable water in our atmosphere for this time of year is probably closer to 2 inches. That's a pretty good amount. You talk about a ½ inch or less, that's dry air. That's great, and you will feel that it's tangible on Saturday morning. So does it last? Nope. Saturday, a little bit Sunday, but by Sunday evening into Monday, there it is. That tropical air will indeed be back, and a summer-like scenario is likely for next week. And as we look through mid-June, how about it? A ridge trying to set up over the eastern half of the country. I don't think will be particularly hot. I don't think will be particularly cool. I think it's a pretty straightforward pattern that will offer up days where, yes, we'll probably be in the low 90s. There'll be days where we're in the mid 80s. We'll have pop-up thunderstorms. But there's nothing here that really tells me, we're looking at something significant here over the next 8 to 14 days. How about you beachgoers? I know a lot of people headed to the beach. Well, today, not great. Even Friday, not great. I do think the weather improves, though, by Saturday. I know this icon here is saying otherwise, but I tend to think that today, Friday, Friday's not a washout, nor is Saturday, but next week looks great. If you're beach bound, that goes from Dauphin Island all the way back to Mexico Beach, Apalachicola. Things looking pretty good. So be safe, have fun. A lot of people just now enjoying summertime, so again, get things started by getting the rain out of here, and then things looking better over the weekend. So hope you all have a great day, great start to summer. See you tomorrow.